A very good evening to everyone present here. It is truly a moment of immense pride and joy for me to welcome you all to this special occasion. I would like to extend my heartfelt greetings to our Honorable Senior Professor Ajay Kumar Singh Sir, respected Director Professor Dr. Mahesh Sharma Sir, respected Registrar Dr. R.S. Singh Sir, and our eminent guest speaker, respected faculty members, and of course, my dear fellow students. I am Ranveer Singh, a student of BBA third semester, and it is an absolute honor for me to address this distinguished gathering at the 49 online interactive session hosted by the Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research, an institution that stands as a beacon of excellence, innovation, and leadership in higher education. This session marks yet another milestone in our shared pursuit of knowledge and growth. It is much more than an academic event. It is a platform for inspiration, exchange of ideas, and a step forward in our leadership journey. Each session at DSPSR is carefully curated to add real value to our learning experience, and today is no exception. At DSPSR, we firmly believe that education should extend beyond the pages of a textbook. Our goal is to equip students with insight, confidence, and competence required to excel in a dynamic, ever evolving world. Today's session, built around the transformative theme of leadership development, reflects our commitment to bridging academic learning with real world industry exposure. It is the blend of theory and practices that shape us, not only into successful professionals, but into thoughtful, responsible, and visionary leaders of tomorrow. We are deeply honored to have among us distinguished experts who bring a wealth of experience and knowledge. Their presence today is an invaluable opportunity for all of us to learn, reflect, and grow. With that, I once again extend a warm welcome to each one of you and look forward to an enriching and engaging session ahead. Now, it is with great pleasure that we welcome Mr. Kaushal Kishor Kumar Sir, who joins us today as our respected session speaker. We are equally pleased to have Ms. Yukta Ma'am as the moderator of this session. We sincerely thank both of you for being here and for your willingness to share your insight and expertise with us. We welcome you both, sir and ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, to commence this session on an auspicious note, let us now take part in a symbolic ritual, the lighting of the virtual lamp. This act represents the removal of darkness around darkness and ushering in and wisdom and enlightenment. May this flame of knowledge guide us towards clarity, confidence, and leadership in the days ahead. With this, I would now request Arun sir to kindly play the virtual lamp lighting video. Thank you, sir. Now, it is my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome the distinguished alumni of DSPSR, Mr. Kaushal Kishore Kumar, sir. Sir is a highly respected name in the field of international development. Mr. Kaushal sir bring with him over 13 years of rich and impactful experience in the development sector, where he has consistently demonstrated excellence across multiple domains. His extensive work include government advisory, development strategy, program design, new product development, policy analysis, monitoring and evaluation, and program management, each of which highlight his deep commitment to creating sustainable and meaningful change. Currently, Mr. Kaushal sir holds a significant position at National Stock Exchange, where he leads the effort of Social Stock Exchange, a groundbreaking initiative that aims to bridge the gap between capital market and social sector. Under his stewardship, the SSC has been taking transformative strides in enabling social enterprises and non-profit to raise capital transparency and efficiently for their development activities. His visionary work continues to contribute to shaping policies and shape systems that empower communities, strengthen institutions, and support inclusive growth. We are truly privileged to have him here with us today to share his expertise, insight, and experiences. So, without further ado, please join us in an extending a very warm welcome to Mr. Kaushal, sir. We again welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now, it gives me a great pleasure to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all of you on this special occasion. I am truly honored to stand before you and open today's program. On behalf of our institution and new skills and knowledge, she also has a long-term goal to start her own business. With such dedication and enthusiasm, Yukta represents the spirit of our student community full of energy, ambition, and purpose. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to all of you and thank you for being part of this event. We are looking forward for an inspiring and engaging session ahead. Your valuable presence adds great strength to today's event and to all our participants joining us from different places eager to learn and grow. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, our respected faculty members, and most importantly, all our participants. Your presence here, your commitment to learning and personal growth. Let us make this 1 hour a truly enriching experience. Now, I would like to hand over this session to Yukta. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ranveer. Hello, sir. I'm Yukta, student of BB at DSPSR. I welcome you on behalf of our college for our today's session. And first of all, I would like to thank you for taking out time for our today's session from your busy schedule. It is our pleasure to host a guest like you who hold such a great achievements and have such experiences in various fields. So, sir, you have had such an inspirational professional journey, which I can tell you from your past. So I want to ask some questions related so that we student can seek some knowledge from you. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. So my first question is, with over 13 years of experiences in international development, how have you seen the sector evolve, particularly in terms of government collaboration and public-private partnerships?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm so happy to see you all, and it reminds me of my old days in DSPSR, that how we used to hold certain sessions and we used to eagerly wait for somebody speaking from industry and telling us about how corporate functions, because that is how, I mean, you learn a lot about what you pursue to do in your future. So most important thing in last 13 years, what I have realized that things change, but you always stay as a learner, and that is the biggest thing that you can carry with yourself. More
Yes.
you work, more you it makes you humble. And when we talk about, like, especially about the sector, this international development or development sector, if you start from the bottoms up, you can say that this is a kind of social sector. But as we know that the sustainable development goals, how it is, like, everywhere and globally, present, and every country has their different goals, their different interventions, their different focus of some goals to achieve. Similarly, we also have certain things, and one thing is constant, is which is change, right, that we normally read. So when I had started, a lot of, like, white paper writing, research writing used to happen. A lot of evaluations, program evaluation, all those things used to happen. A lot of interventions were there on ground also, but what was missing was a kind of transparent mechanism, right, of monitoring things and evaluating whether what you intend to do, whether you are meeting all those targets and all those numbers or not. So normally, what used to happen that time, you are telling your funding agency that uh, we have done this. You are sharing some template, filled template. They see that, they come to your field, they see some places, and they believe that it is happening. So in last 13 years, the biggest change is due to this technology, right? That where you can create a kind of questionnaire or information schedule, or you can create one mobile app. You can tell your entire team to feed in the data, and that data is coming as a kind of, like, visualization tool, right? Dashboards and all those things. And that is how, like, things are being monitored in real time, evaluated in real time. And that is how,
Yes.
like, what you have written, and in on first day, that this is how my project is going to behave, not necessarily how it is going to behave, because so many things change in real time. So they are, like, you are changing your project plannings accordingly, because when we talk about economics, we are all managing different resources, which is very limited, right? So that is what, like, this last 1 decade has given that change. Certainly, like, when we talk about the sector, I mean, the funding has gone a bit trickier one. So If we see before, there were like UK aid called DFID, and now they're called FCTO. So they used to fund India a lot. Now they have almost disappeared. I'm sure you must be aware about how USAID was there. I mean, they were looking after so many developmental goals. Now, because of Trump and Elon Musk, I mean, there is no more USAID except few people working in Ukraine as a part of their disaster relief activities. So that's how, last 13 years, lot of perspectives, lot of worldview has changed. How Millennium Development Goals has converted to Sustainable Development Goals, and their goals are also a bit smart and trickier. When we talk about, like, India, when it came in, like, UNDP says that we need at least $2.8 trillion to achieve our developmental goals, right, for India. And if we combine the entire public, financing and corporate social responsibility funding and other fundings, I mean, still we are not able to achieve that. And that is how, like, something like social stock exchange was required, that I will talk about it later. And certainly, like, when we club together, then how we used to look at certain things differently 10 years ago, now it's totally different. And certainly one thing is important, is a better and a skilled professionals are required everywhere, right? I mean,
Yes.
how I used to work 10 years ago and how I'm working now, it's a huge paradigm shift, right? So these are the changes, I would say, that we have been seeing. And certainly, like, when we talk about government collaboration and public-private partnership that you said, right? So these all
Yes.
lenses needs to be considered there, and it's a huge change for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. These were great insights. So, sir, can you tell me a movement or project from your career that significantly shape your approach to development strategy or policy design?
So normally, see, there are two different parts. One is, like, who are the policymakers, right, and who are implementing all those projects. So if you see, government is doing that, or even the organizations who are designing those policies, they have not been a part of that implementation. So there is a huge gap. So all the implementing people are basically NGOs, right? And
Yes.
they are not so much into policy making. Certainly, they feed into the data, they share some messaging, but they're not completely a part of that. So, for bridging that gap, when I had started my career, I mean, luckily, like, big fours we are working, there's so many, like, NPOs we are working, foundations we are working. But fortunately, I have been a part of one organization called IP Global. So, I mean, their founder's name is Shri Ashrajit Singh Ji. So, he actually saw that gap, and he tried to build an organization that works on, I mean, at policy level. At the same time, they're implementing the project also. Right. So because of that, I had been, like, tried to be at the both sides. Had been a part of designing project at the same time, like how that project functions. So obviously, when you are working on so many projects, you don't find time to really getting into micromanagement of certain projects or program management. So that is where, like, I thought that if you get into the monitoring, evaluation, and learning part, that also gives a lot of opportunity to do some bit of knowledge management, doing some sort of advocacy for sustainability and all those things. So there, when I got into monitoring and evaluation, that helped me understand project, that helped me building all the tools and techniques for monitoring, at the same time how we can evaluate the project, whether it is a kind of, like, ongoing performance evaluation or a kind of like impact evaluation. So this is how, like, I mean, when we talk about some moments, there's so many moments, like, one of my projects, which was funded by Children's Investment Fund Foundation. And I got so attached to the objective of that project, because that was around child marriage, in
Yeah.
Rajasthan. So that was about, like, preventing teenage pregnancy in Rajasthan. And we designed that project, and that got approved by SIF. And it was such a kind of around $14 million project. And then I decided that I will be a part of their program management as well, and I became a part of that, and I will talk about it later on as a part of some of your questions. So, and that is how it really changed a lot of landscape around governance, around certain behavior change indicators, certain human centered different designing that we did. So yeah, certainly, like there's so many such examples that I can share, but we have limited time, so certainly we have to address all the questions. So please go ahead with your second one, I mean the third question, please.
Okay, sir, no problem. So, sir, what key leadership traits have helped you the most while advertising government agency and managing large scale development programs?
See, so whenever we are implementing some programs, such large scale or even if it is small scale, we can never get into that program management, or we can see that as an isolated person, right? That you are a kind of problem solver. No, you have to be first a kind of, you have to include yourself in understanding that problem. That is what most important thing is, and that is where we talk about one concept called human centered design, right? So one of the examples I must share that when we were working on a project, and that was related to nutrition of pregnant and lactating women in Udaipur. So there we wanted to create some sort of social and behavior change communication related logo and punchline, and that is where we approached different professors, different social sector experts, different behavioral economists, and professionals from IITs and all those places. They came up with such fancy ideas, and this certainly, like everything got changed when we thought, let's hear their voices, what they want. Right. So basically, human centered design is nothing but keeping all those stakeholders in loop. Who are the actual stakeholders? You can call it the beneficiaries of the solution, right? So that is when we went through all the process, starting from inspiration to ideation to finding n number of solutions, potential ones, then doing some sort of prototyping, then experimenting that, and a long, I mean, kind of long list. And that is where what happened, that what logo came in was completely different. And I must share the punchline was that there, that champion rima thodo or kha. So the nobody had thought, like all the experts I'm telling you, they could have never thought about it. That after hearing this punchline, probably in-laws and the husbands would be uh, you know taking care of their wives, right? Pregnant or lactating wives. But that really worked as a magic. So that's something, like always we cannot think that that can be one of the approaches. And I mean, it also depends on the situations, right? So in one of the projects, we had 17 different blocks, and we had to achieve some numbers which was completely based on some analysis, that okay, this block will require, I mean, need this many out of school girls to be coming back to a school or something like that, right? So what happened? We had different targets, but based on some formula, we had 17 different people working in 17 different districts of Rajasthan. And there, what we adopted was, it was not like this is my approach, this is my plan of doing this. But what we did was, we hosted a kind of, like 3 day long session with them, and we tried to understand who is strong in what. So say or interested in what, you can say. So say for example, one person is very good with community people, right? One person may be very good with government people, right? One person may be very good, like with principals of schools, right? Or influential. So that is how, like we design their plan as per their interest and strength areas. And you can't believe, everybody overachieved. that was the power of you know letting everybody participate in whatever ways they can. Yeah, so there can be so many things that I can speak about, but yeah, please go ahead with your next one.
So, sir, how do you balance short-term program project objectives with long-term sustainable development goal in complex projects?
See, you do not remember things that this is short term, so I have to give short term on this, or
Okay.
less time. But certainly, like when you design the project, you try to think through, right? And you try to create some sort of Gantt chart, your project man through your project management tool. There are certain like different frameworks also that help you do certain things, whether it's the theory of change or logical framework model. Some people call it cascade to impact also. And that's how like it gives you all the reminders that so when you plan the project, you know that what activities are required that will lead to what kind of output and outcome, how it is going to create different impact, how you can create some sort of synergy around it, right? And accordingly, like you put a timeline that how much time you would be requiring for doing that. And there will be a kind of week and month and all those things. So once you plan it well, implementation becomes really a kind of cakewalk.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience. So, my next question is what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced while implementing development strategies at scale, and how did you overcome them?
So basically, there are some challenges, and those challenges are nothing but it's all human challenges. And as we know that everybody is different, so similarly, every project is different, even if is of same nature because of its socio-cultural, socio-economic conditions, right? And what can work at one place is not necessarily required to work on other place as well. So a lot of things. So, and that is where like, all these data and information helps you a lot. It's not only about your quantitative analysis, but how those numbers are becoming a kind of like, bone to the body, right? So the flesh is your information, your story, what is it is building to. And then when you create that, then probably you can have a kind of correct set of monitoring and evaluation that will actually bridge the gap between your planning and your implementation, right? So this is how you mitigate all those challenges as well. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insights. So, sir, when working on a policy advisory with government bodies, how do you ensure that the policies are both evidence based and conceptual based, relevant?
Yeah, so basically, whenever we bring policy or work on that, I mean, it's just not uh, you just develop that overnight, right? It needs a lot of desk research. It needs a lot of consultation. It needs a lot of like advice, just not advisory, but getting into the shoes of people who are going to be benefited from that policy. So here, data correct set of data analysis is very important. Then what kind of methodology and all those things are required. Then again, when we talk about the contextual relevance, then all the qualitative parameters, as I said, that socioeconomic or cultural, or same time like other things that we talk, what we call it pestle analysis that we study. You must have studied that there as well, right? So all those things you do, and it's not just like for the sake of doing it, but really you get into the shoes of stakeholders. You understand their pain, what can work, what cannot work, and then based on that, and it takes time as in like it's just not like that what you feel is correct, but you also talk to kind of it's a kind of public consultation also you take. Say for example, when social stock exchange had to come in place, that time also after its announcement, SEBI formed a kind of working group. They put down their consultation paper, they came up with the report, then they put it as a consultation paper. They came up with a technical report, and that is how it got formed. And it took almost a year. So currently, also they have come up with uh, uh, one consultation paper on starting something social stock exchange electronic bidding platform. So for that also, even if we think that this is how it should work, but still, we need to ask everybody if they have any comments, if any of the comments or kind of inputs or insights can help you, minimizing those blind spots. So this is how, when we work on that, this is how we give a sort of all those evidence based and contextually relevant, perspective.
Okay, sir. So, sir, can you elaborate on your approach to aligning development policies with ground level realities in diverse communities across India or internationally?
So there are so many things that we do. I tell you one example that what had happened in uh, Udaipur, not Udaipur, it was in Rajasthan. So when one of the components of the project was, because when we talk about preventing teenage pregnancy, it's just not about you will bring them in the school and they will not they will not be forced to getting married before 18. That might happen, right? So,
Yes.
long term sustainable component or plan was how we can create a kind of goal agency where uh, all those students or girls would be empowered to take their own decision. If something is happening wrong against them, they are there to raise their voice because somehow they know what is right, what is wrong, right? So it's not just about right and wrong. There's so many other things that when we got into the psychology or behaviors, then you must be aware that there is right touch, wrong touch concept, right? There's so many things that even we don't like to speak in the community. We cannot talk to our parents about that, right? It's all called taboo. And when you go and experiment certain component there, or maybe like you are designing some program that how to uplift and those girls and somehow bring them into the mainstream. So that is where, like, even at some places, some community members, they came to us, our team, and saying that why are you teaching something wrong to our kids? We cannot talk all these things openly in our family, and you are talking about all these things in the community. I mean, this is all something dirt that you are spreading and all those stuff, right? So these are realities where you think something and it does not go as per the plan. But what happens that is why whenever you are designing some program, you create some sort of assumptions, right? What if it takes more time? What if it goes a little bit wrong or some deviations come in place? And that is why the biggest thing, like when you're doing something very sensitive, like this intervention I talked about, we gave it enough time as in, for researching only for designing this human centered model. We took almost 1.5 years. We deployed or engaged with bestest organizations like IDEO from US, and there's another one called Quicksands. So that's how we took care of all these risks. And at the same time, like I tell you, the outcome of this entire intervention was right now, Rajasthan is the only state where there is a kind of curriculum on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. So, and it's a part of their 9 to 12th is school and college curriculum. So this is what happened through this project. So certainly, you have to have a lot of patience when you are doing some sort of social experiment or research at this sensitive level. Yeah.
Sir, how do you measure the impact of policy advisory intervention, especially when result might take years to materialize?
No, so certainly this question is such a kind of big question, I would say, because this one topic can take like hours to explain and discuss. But certainly, what you do is whenever you come up with some sort of policy or some sort of something you implement, there are a lot of indicators to you create. So when you design a project or something, there you have a kind of theory of change thing, that how this is your objective and goal. These are the inputs that you are, or activities you are doing. These are leading to your outputs. That is leading to some outcomes. And in long term, it's leading to these impacts, or this is how you are achieving your goal. So you create different short-term indicators or medium-term outcomes, and same time, like so that's where, like there are different tools and techniques of doing all these things. And what happens that there are different agencies expert in that. What they do is, because see, if I am evaluating my work, right, I will always say that I have achieved, overachieved, right, because I have my personal bias.
Okay.
I can manipulate data also, if sometimes if I'm not ethical. But if some agency which is third party, they see things through some third party lens, and they come up with their own tools, and they talk to people who are actual, like stakeholders, whether they have been benefited or not. That will help a lot, and that is how the validation of things happen. It's not always necessary that what we you have designed is going to succeed. That is where, like you have your learnings, and accordingly you develop, accordingly you redesign the project. Otherwise, you see, in health only, in education only, skilling only, there's so many projects, right? If all have had been successful, I mean, we would have achieved all those developmental indicators, right? So we have always something to learn. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, how do you design a robust monitoring and evaluation M&E framework for complex multi-stakeholders development programs?
So whenever we design, I'm just trying to keep it a bit short because we have limited time, I believe, right? And
Yes.
I would request that whoever after this session is interesting knowing something in detail, I mean, you can get in touch with me and we can have a kind of long call, no matter how much time it takes. So it's there. But yeah, when we talk about designing a kind of monitoring and evaluation model, then uh, we try to understand the project first. What are the objectives? What you want to achieve? And similarly, there are, as I said, that there are certain, like well-proof or highly like used models and frameworks by different multilaterals and donor agencies like World Bank, DFID, and USAID, and all those. So a very well accepted model one is like theory of change. So this will be your homework, that you will go and study about theory of change, how this reflects and percolates to your desired outcome. And based on that, like theory of change, you can say that is a kind of like the overall visualization of the project, how you want to see the change, right? Of your project goals are getting achieved, right? But at the same time, like you create a kind of logical framework model also, that what activity, I mean, what inputs you require, what outputs you are achieving, what outcomes as well you are achieving. Same time, like what kind of impact it is creating, whether it's a kind of qualitative, quantitative. So all those things you mentioned there, but at the same time, you also talk about assumptions, right? That you, as we know, that this you can't keep everything constant, right? Everything is moving in real time, so something might affect your project. And if that happens, then you have assumptions to save you, right? That can also work as a kind of risk of not happening certain things. And then if it happens or if it doesn't happen, then that time what will be the means of verification? Yeah, so how will you verify? How will I know that you have achieved this much? So something can get published in something like some survey, some government published paper, right? So that is where, like so you will mention the source. It can be your evaluation research also, and all those things can be done. So this is how you create the logical framework. but at the same time, you will have different customized indicators, and both quantitative and qualitative, as I said. And then you do some sort of, you have data systems and tools where you use mobile based data collection tools. As I said, that it goes to the server, and then you can create some visual dashboards using Power BI these days, or Tableau. You use it through, you can do it through Python as well, right? There's a lot of certain tools, and that is how, you can try to create this kind of M&E model. And same time, you create some sort of learning model, that what you have learned from this project, and what can be the next thing of this, and if everything has gone well, can this project be implemented at some other places where the problem is almost same, right? So that is where, like, this entire thing helps you to do your own advocacy exercise with those governments, right? So this is how, like, overall things work. Yeah.
Sir, so can you tell me innovations or best practices in program management that you have found particularly effective in high impact initiatives?
Well, there are a lot of things, a lot of innovations and best practices that we are doing in program management. I mean, one of the most trusted is Microsoft Project Management tool, right? These days we are doing Agile program management as well, but at the same time, like, there's so many tech-enabled solutions. As I said, that mobile-based apps, or wherever you are doing something, you are doing GIS mapping, right? So what you do is, say for example, I'm going to field and I have to report you that in this school something is happening that we were intending to do. So I will tell the person that when you are reaching there, you will first click a picture. That picture will be uploaded in the mobile app. It will come to data, I mean in the server dashboard pe bhi wo sab kuch dikhega, and you can see the entire GIS tagging of that place. Just not picture, but you can also locate the person from where that person has uh, clicked that picture. Pre and post you can do, so that you can ensure that the person has visited the place, right? That is number one. There in that picture, how many people are there? It can be counted, right? Say for example, if I'm going to some place where network mobile network is a problem, right? So there also you can check the what is it called, satellite efficiency and all those things. So these days a lot of things are happening, and those are very interesting and exciting to learn, and I would really like suggest you, all of you, that it's just not about what you are learning as a part of your subject. This is just a kind of qualification you are getting, but what we talk about, the competency, all these new tools and things will certainly help you out more. Yeah, so there are a lot of things that we can talk in length and breadth. There are other things, like these days going on. We are talking about innovative financing, and which is a part of outcome based uh, contracting or funding model. So if I want to fund some project in education, I won't fund it upfront. That, okay, you want to do, I like your work, I'm giving you money. No, I will give you only when you achieve the results, right? And
Yes.
but you have to implement the project. So from where will you get that money? So then in between there will again the private public, when what we were talking about. So one private person will come. That person may work as a kind of risk funder, so he is risking his money for development. And for risk funding, he is asking some for some premium. So he is concerned about the development. At the same time, he ensures that his money is not lost. At the same time, he ensures that he is getting some sort of interest on his money or their money. And that is how this entire, outcome based funding is working. It's again a kind of another subject of long discussion. But yeah, there are a lot of models and innovations and best practices coming in this domain. Yeah.
Uh, Thank you, sir. So, how do you incorporate feedback from beneficiaries and grassroots organizations into program improvement cycles?
It's a long, I mean, a lot of things that you can do simultaneously. One is like, through surveys and what we call it like normal tools like focus group discussions and what we call it community scorecards, right? So you give the access of all these things to people and they feel free to, give feedback as an anonymous also if required. Then you also create some sort of like helpline or grievance redressal. Normally that does not happen that way, but these days people tweet also, right? I mean, how you do that. And at the same time, when it comes to like your real time, I mean, meeting them, knowing them as well, and that is how like you create that kind of feedback loop. Uh, but yeah, everything is very important. It all depends on what kind of project nature you have, right? And accordingly, what kind of access those people have, right? You cannot ask people in rural India to tweet about their problem, right? So accordingly, you decide what the means and media that you select for all those things. Yeah.
Uh, uh, so, in your view, what are the most critical gaps SSE aims to fill in the ecosystem of social finance in India?
No, so see, I tell you one story. So can you tell me how many? What is the number of NPOs in India? NGOs, if I ask you, can you have a kind of wild guess?
It may be in thousands.
It is more than 33 lakhs.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately more than double to the number of schools, public schools in India. It's an irony, we can say that, right? And that is where, as a funder, as a donor, if I want to contribute as a part of my giving forward or giving back to the society, I mean, I will always question that. I mean, why should I give money to some NPO which will not use my money for development, right? Or maybe what are the chances or probability that my money will be used for my cause of, concern? So that is where, and I don't do not have time to give that money to them and then forgetting it, because other thing, I don't have time to do certain due diligence also, that whether the NGO is right NGO or not, credible NGO or not. So that is where, like, the first thing was the overall philosophy of bringing this SSC in place was when our Honorable Finance Minister talked about it in 2019, 2020 budget session. She talked that how this growing capital market can also reach out to masses. It can also help uh, these developmental issues, right? And that is where, like, it started. SEBI launched it in, long story, but SEBI launched it in September 2023. And it was 2022. And then, I mean, it started by BSC, NSE. But the point was, like, the one thing was again the UNDP research I talked about, that we need more than 2.8 trillion. So we needed some kind of parallel platform where you and I can also contribute to the development or Indian growth story, or Viksit Bharat, what we talk about, right? So that is where, like, starting, I will talk about it, but now we can contribute as less as 1,000 rupees to different projects on social stock exchange, right? But the biggest gap, I mean, this SSC is solving the problem is, like, that credibility, because it's not like there are 33 lakhs NGOs, and if you divide some places, I mean, a population of some places by the number of NGOs working there. For example, in Udaipur, the number of NGOs, the population divided by number of NGOs working there is hardly 3 to 4. If one NGO adopts 3 to 4 people, it will be developed. But when we traveled, there in certain blocks, you can't believe that even Google Map was wrong, right? It was not working. There are certain Naxalite places as well where you are not safe at all. So there's some places where women are traveling 3 to 5 kilometers to get safe drinking water. So that is where the credibility is a concern, but at the same time, it does not mean that many NGOs are not working, right? There are credible NGOs. So this is a kind of way out where, credible NGOs get a sort of like a stamp that they are doing a good job. And if you just uh, connect it a bit from capital market or exchanges, how it works is like, it's a kind of credibility stamp or where you can trust, and that is how you are sitting in Delhi, but at the same time you are investing in some stocks and companies based out of Tinsukia that you may not even heard about, right? But just because that it is there on the exchange, you invest in that stock, right? That is the kind of trust that exchanges build in the minds of investors. So as an investor, you look for some sort of financial return, that my money should grow, my money should multiply. Similarly, as a donor in social sector, what we look for, like, social return. So I want to give money to the place where I will get those social returns. And that is what the biggest challenge that SSC is trying to fill in the ecosystem of this social financing. I mean, there are a lot of things that we can talk about, but this is the major one, most critical, we can say.
Okay. So the social stock exchange is a pioneering initiative. How did the concept come about, and what was the vision behind it?
Yeah, so as I said, that the vision was like just to how we can create a kind of parallel platform where that can also help filling the gap of those developmental cost, right? Second was related to what I said, that to bring in transparency and trust, right? And that will certainly leads to the credibility of those NGOs so that they can do better work, because they will get more funding because of that credibility. And the other thing was this entire what is that called, when we talk about overall, different multiple layers of developmental sources, I mean the funding sources, so many, we are now moving from developing to developed, if we say. So how we can and how we can be developed by, so the biggest thing is, the more dependent we are on international funding, the messaging is going that we are still in the process of being developed, right? So that dependency has to go down. So how as a citizen, how India as a whole can create that kind of funding, so that you don't need money from World Bank, you don't need money from certain agencies who are coming to your country and they're funding your projects, but at the same time they're getting into your policy intelligence as well, right? They're influencing your policy based on their fundings. So, so lesser the dependency is, more it is a messaging to the world that we are developed now, right? So these were one of the few visions that was behind creating social stock exchange.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, how do you assess the impact and credibility of social organization before they are listed or supported through SSE?
So normally what happens that this is a long process. So what happens that there is a portal where NGOs sign up, then there is a long checklist, and so all a kind of like how you do due diligence of the organization. So from name to their all the documents, whether they have ATG certificate, whether they have Darpan ID, whether they are registered on Darpan or not, and from starting from the documentation to even some of the trustees, if they have any court cases, if they have kind of defaulter in some of the income tax things, so everything the compliance team looks into. And once they pass all the exams, then only like they get registered on the social stock exchange. So it's a kind of very, very well versed and robust process. And this is how, like, we ensure that if tomorrow, if you're funding some project of some NGO which is registered on social stock exchange, I mean, we ensure that you are donating to the right project to right NGO. Yeah.
Sir, what mechanism are in the place to ensure transparency and accountability for investors and stakeholders involved in SSC listed entities?
See, these things remain same, but at the same time, like when it comes to like once they are listed, and there's certain other validations also they are getting. As in, I can tell you that till now, I mean, it's just a beginning, been 2 years, and we have 14 projects and raised over 43 crores. There are 15 more projects. They are going to, I mean, they are targeting to mobilize another 60 crores. But same time, like, I mean, they are, this entire trust and transparency is also ensuring their parallel other fundings, right? Because it is helping other funders trusting them more, right? So they can say that their due diligence process is quite robust, and we are doing such a minimal due diligence, and if they have passed there, then we can fund them as well, right? So many times, like we get certain messages from different foundations, and this they ask for that we work in this location, and we work on these developmental areas, and do you know somebody who can implement this kind of project? We introduce them to each other, and then I have received certain messages saying that, oh, thanks for introducing us, and today only we have secured 1.29 crore for this project to work for tribal development and something like that. So yeah, this is how entire ecosystem is working, and we are hoping that we will have more tools in future, and we will come up with uh, bigger spectrum of solving different problems. I mean, see, we have kept so less time for discussing all those things. But yeah, whenever, like, I'm just trying to put a kind of food for thought. If you have any questions, you feel free. I will give you my number and email ID. You feel free to, message me, call me, write to me. I will ensure that your all questions are answered. Yeah.
Hello,
Okay, thank you, sir.
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I'm also visible. First of all, good evening, sir, and
Yeah.
happy to see you in this forum. Sir, one question I want to ask from you, as
Please.
we talked about the Viksit Bharat. My question is related to Viksit Bharat and financial inclusion.
Mhm.
Sir, in the journey of Viksit Bharat, how do you see that SSE, that is Social Stock Exchange, contributing to deeper financial inclusion, especially for grassroots and grassroots social enterprises and underserved communities?
See, there's a lot of things like when we talk about the development. I mean, we take it as a kind of just in very limited manner, right? And limited manner means like if I ask you that what do you think are the bigger problems, and you say that poverty is one problem. You say that health issues are other problems,
Yeah, is
right?
one of the
You
biggest problem. Yeah.
you can say that education is other problem, but somehow when we talk about social stock exchange, it gives a bigger outreach. So if I talk about national stock exchange, we have more than 11.5 crore individual unique investors, and they belong to 99.99% of the pin codes in India, minus 28, and those 28 pin codes are nothing but railway stations. So that is the kind of outreach. So when one NGO tries to raise fund for some project, it's a kind of awareness outreach also coming in, right? So when you talk about this, one person is talking about autism also, one person is talking about certain deficiencies, certain, like problems that we have never heard about, right? One project got listed, which works in Sundarban, in Kolkata, where girl childs are abducted and they're forced to do, I mean, into human trafficking. So when we talk in general about development, we don't talk about like kind of overall development. We only talk about some bit of development of something that we are actually seeing in front of us. But there's lot bigger problems, and those are very much different at different places, right? So that is how a kind of awareness and that mindfulness that this thing is giving to people. And certainly behavior change needs a long time, right? When we talk about some impact, some behavior change, it takes at least 3 to 5 years, and we're just evolving. We have just begun as a kind of like the last 2 years have been quite promising, and we are feeling that I tell you one more thing, like one likelihood of something on social stock exchange is most likely some percentage of CSR funding uh, will come on social stock exchange or will come through social stock exchange. So say for example, if it comes only 10%, it will open an opportunity for NGOs to raise funds of size 33,000 crore, right? So I mean, gradually and gradually it will unfold, and certainly like we have time left for Vikasit Bharat, and a lot of things are yet to be done. So let's see. I mean, it's all fingers crossed because we cannot think for so long. But certainly these are certain promising. And one more thing, like I tell you, so you must be doing uh, stock trading, or maybe like doing mutual funds, right? These days how it happens, it's just a kind of one click. You want to invest in some company, you just click that, and you just approve your UPI thing, and it happens, right? So similarly, like this donation thing or funding thing uh, will be just one click, and it is going to be one click through UPI. And one, I mean, kind of example, or you can say that kind of just example, you can say that, say for example, you are giving me 1 crore rupee for doing something, and I'm doing it, and I'm accountable to you. So I'm sending you all the reports, all the matrices, all the data and analysis to you. So I'm accountable to you. But just imagine where 1 crore people are giving one rupee to that cause, right? So the person who is implementing, or the agency who is implementing, that person will be accountable to 1 crore people, right?
Yeah.
So the sense
Yes.
of accountability, the moment it will be democratized, right? So the real power lies in that democracy that we have in India as a whole. So the moment that our democracy will also see some democratization of philanthropy, where one person who is doing some project and accountable to lakhs and lakhs people, that is where the landscape of this development will take that shape. Yeah, so a lot of I mean, examples like this can be given, but yeah, this just stuck to my brain, so I just thought of sharing this with you.
Sir, one more question I also want to ask, that you recently said that we have to eliminate the dependency for funding, right? To become self-reliant. Sir, do you think, or is it realistic for India to become completely self-reliant in terms of financial capital and eliminate external funding dependency by 2047?
That, see, even experts cannot do. Even the topmost economists also cannot predict that thing, because it's all around so many things, so many microeconomic factors, right? Anything can happen. What if tomorrow the war happens and something goes wrong? So it's too long time to say that, and to 2047 is quite, it's a long time. So it's what I can only say that the way we are
Long
moving
time,
is
and it's also unpredictable as well.
it's very unpredictable, right? And a lot of things are happening globally. Even one side, you we are talking about capital and finance, and other side, when we talk about the employment, right? I mean, the entire technological revolution is taking it away. So what is the substitute of that? So there's a lot of debate can happen around all those things, and that is why probably I will reserve my comments here. Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a
yeah.
lot.
Thanks.
Now, over to you, Randeep. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is one question from Mr. Dhyan also. He was not able to unmute.
Yes, please, please, sir.
Yeah, are you able to unmute now?
Arun, sir, kindly make the answer co-host.
He was earlier co-host, but I think he dropped in between.
Hi,
Completely the
Kaushal.
connection issue. Now he is back. Yeah.
Kaushal, typically, how does a career for a student looks like in terms of if we start from the first step, which is what should be the base qualification, then what the person should do to get into NSE, and how can NSE and universities collaborate for your talent fulfillment needs?
So there are so many ways I would say, and one more most important. See, qualification is one thing, but competency again is the other thing.
What kind of people do you take?
So certainly, there's so many different departments and domains
Like
where, when you talk about marketing or finance or security, cyber security, or you can say regulatory. So there's so many departments. That's number one. So accordingly, the qualification and requirements differ. Right. Most important thing I would say that how well versed somebody is there to solve a problem. Right. And the most important thing above all this qualification is how you present yourself as a kind of uh, I won't say employee, but kind of potential problem
candidate?
solver, or becoming a kind of candidate. So that is where I feel that how you explain certain things, and certainly there. I believe that one skill which is highly undermined is public speaking skill, or you can say interpersonal communication. Right. So knowing something is very important, but how you can tell a story is another thing that you have to. And second thing is tie-ups and collaborations. Certainly that needs a lot of kind of nudges to kind of uh, this kind of organizations. So that is where you write to the organization. You start with a kind of industry exposure, right? Say for example, my students want to visit a campus or want to see the exchange, right? How it works. So it's a kind of co-creation of that inspiration also. Same time, doing some sort of investor awareness programs can be one of the things, right? So there are a lot of things, and I would suggest that this is something a very serious topic also, and it cannot be explained in just 1 minute, 2 minutes. So if we can have a kind of separate call on that, and if just needed, I mean, some questions if I may not be able to answer, so in that case, I will try to get in touch with my HR people, and I will ask them if they have any document or anything what they are doing to create that kind of the best talent search across India, and what are the criteria for them to be a part of this, right? So certainly, I will try to help you out, and I will also try to understand in that angle as well. Yeah.
What is the employee size of NSE?
So it's, I believe, more than 45 and 4,000. I mean, they are full, but there are so many consultants. There are people from outside. There are different vendors and all those. So it's a huge size for sure. So I
Hmm.
tell you that in last few years only, we have been like 3 to 4 offices in Bombay only. Three
Hmm.
offices in the same vicinity we have in Bombay,
Hmm.
and then we have regional offices also. Ahmedabad, Delhi is one, then Kolkata is another one.
Hmm.
Varanasi also we have some. So that's how it's a kind of outreaches everywhere.
Okay, so I take your point. I think we should set up a separate call on this
Surely, surely.
because that's something which is beneficial for NSE as well
No, no, surely, surely.
to have a wider outreach for attracting the right talent.
No,
And
why
then let
not?
us see how we can start the engagement.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
And Kaushal, I don't know whether DSPSR or Society for Human Transformation and Research qualifies to be listed on social stock exchange or
It
not.
can be, sir, because there were some questions recently, and maybe what I will do, sir, is SEBI has recently come up with their press release of their recent board meeting, and there are some of the new changes that they are coming up with. We are still waiting for the circular, but once that comes, I don't think so that should be a problem. So I will share that
And
copy of press release with you.
Please
I
share,
also
please
think,
share.
Singh Saab, if any college for that matter, not only DSPSR, if it is recognized by NSE and is a university college, it should qualify.
Ah, in principle, yeah, I can understand that it works. And we have ATG and all those things also, Sarpan number and all those what you said earlier. Is there any such institution which has got some funding like this or not?
No, sir, till now they have not been registered only. Otherwise, I should say that there's so many IITs and IIMs also, interested to be on social stock exchange. But somehow there are some eligibility criteria where the organization has to prove what is that called that intent, social intent, the primacy of social intent that they have to build, and that is where they have to say that more than two-thirds of the revenue that comes that goes for marginalized and disadvantaged community. So that is where, at one side they are taking fees, and same time it's a transaction of education, right? So that is where, like, it is not completely coming into that, but most likely for registration at least, it might be considered once that circular comes in place. Second is, when the NPO or like the trust or society, they are willing for raising fund, that time they have to ensure that it is going for, helping those SDGs.
Okay, one more
Like
question.
we have, skill development, EDU, GKY
Yes, yes.
program
Yes,
that we are doing. So
yes,
there
yes.
is a revenue which is coming from that, but that's all government funded, government supported for
Yes,
projects that
yes.
we are doing in three different states.
Correct,
So
correct.
uh, I don't know, maybe we'll have a separate call on that, but
Yes,
to
yes.
understand more deeply about that.
Yes, yes, sir. We will talk about it. There are some NPOs, they have raised a lot of funding for skill development and all. The first and again they came back and they raised a good amount also. So I mean they came for that. They were doing DDU, GKY and all those things. As a part of my last organization also, we had a lot of policy papers around that. Though I mean it's a kind of very tricky scheme. We will talk about that later, but yeah, so that can be done for sure, and there is certainly a potential and a possibility.
Okay, Kaushal, I have two questions for you. I'm sorry, I'm in Uttarakhand, so here weather is very violent these days. So light had gone off. After leaving DSPSR, where all did you work and how did you reach NSE?
So see, what happened that when I started that time, I had got offer from LNT and Syscom and some
Hmm.
other offers also. But
And what was the job profile there?
so there I did my MBA in marketing and international business, right?
From where?
And I mean from days PSR only,
Acha,
obviously.
DSPSR only. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, so what happened then that something happened with me, and I felt that I am from Bihar basically, and then I've sensed a lot of troubles there, problems there. I said that, see, that can be a business model, and see, when I talk about development, I don't talk it as a kind of poor industry or something like
No,
that.
no,
Can
no,
we
no, no. I'm
can
asking a
and until
simple
and
thing.
unless we do not have funds, we do not
Kaushal,
have
Kaushal,
funds
Kaushal,
basically.
Kaushal.
No, no,
Kaushal,
I'm
hold on.
telling you the entire story. Just please let
I
me
want to see
complete.
the road which led you to NSE.
No, that is what I'm telling you, right? So that's what happened. So then I joined one organization, and it was recommended by our. He was the friend of Anmol Soi sir.
Hmm.
Uh, yes. So he wrote a kind of handwritten letter, and there I was not knowing any question that they were asking. To be honest, So the chairman of that company asked me that you tell me कि गंगा कौन-कौन से शहरों से जाती है, and there also my geography is very bad. And then what happened? They selected me, right? And after 6 months, they asked me that I asked them that why did you select me when you had the toppers of TIS and all those places coming for interview? They said that you're the only person who is talking about the business of development. Where how will you implement a project without having money? Right, so that was one thing. Second thing, it told that aptitude is just 20%. If the person has 80% attitude, we can train the person, right? So that was there. So I started with one organization called Global Agri System, and then I landed up in IP Global, and they are India's the best development sector organization. They have worked in more than 130 countries across. And then I moved to Bombay, and that's another story, long story. And I came here, I was looking after some developmental strategy of a kind of group of companies, and they basically were working in education, consulting, and skilling. So that is where I worked for some one year, 11 months, and then what happened that then I joined here when SSC came in place.
And here precisely, what is your role?
So I look after social stock exchange.
Acha,
Precisely,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Now,
yeah.
now tell me one thing. How does NSE make money?
So for that you need to do some research for sure,
No, no,
because
I'm
it's a
just asking
platform.
a ballpark,
It's a
ballpark
kind of
way.
see if you see that NSE is the kind of you can say India's first fintech business model, right? How BSE used to do that. So the complete kind of fintech model of that
नहीं,
trading
ऐसे
and
ले
all
मैं
those things.
समझ लीजिए मैं दूध वाला हूँ, मेरे को समझाइए। आप एनएससी हैं तो पैसा कमाते कैसे हैं?
नहीं सर, दूध वाले आप हैं
क्योंकि आप तो
मान
ट्रेडिंग कर नहीं
लीजिए।
रहे।
नहीं, अब ट्रेडिंग नहीं कर रहे हैं, बट दूध वाली की कोई कंपनी हो सकती है ना, एंड यू हैव टू टेल द वर्ल्ड दैट मेरा दूध सबसे अच्छा है, राइट?
तो
So
एनएससी
how,
कैसे
how will
पैसा
you
कमाएगा
how will
उसमें?
you create that trust and transparency, right? It's not by having the best bhais or guy, right? But you can have some kind of quality parameters, right, where you can say that okay, so my milk has this much lactose and all those things to this level, right? We are into this
अरे नहीं
FSSI,
कौशल,
those
आप
things,
गलत
right?
रास्ते चले गए।
नहीं
मुझे
नहीं, एक मिनट
समझाइए।
मैं बताता हूँ
मैं
सर,
एक
आई
मिनट
मीन।
मैं कहना
हाँ।
चाहता हूँ, मैं अगर मैं मान लूँ कि मैं एक जाहिल आदमी हूँ और
हम्म।
आपको मुझे समझाना है कि एनएससी 45,000 लोगों को सैलरी कैसे देती है, 4,500 लोगों को सैलरी कैसे देती है, पैसा
सर
कहाँ से
देखिए,
आता है?
सर ये सारा जो ट्रेडिंग होता है, तो दिस इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म, राइट? सो
हम्म,
एवरी डे सो मेनी पीपल
ओके।
इन्वेस्ट in different companies. So there is a margin everywhere, right? So if you are investing in some company, right, I was telling you the entire story of that, but maybe this is the most simplest one. So certainly, like, all the transactions happen, all the volumes come in place, right? So somebody is buying, somebody is selling, right? And in that process, even if it is a marginal thing that happens, right, that brings a kind of like huge volume.
तो आप सेलिंग में भी गेन शेयर लेते हो और बाइंग में भी लेते हो?
So that is different thing that we cannot talk here right now, because the
ओके,
purpose of the entire call was different, right? Tomorrow, in your next question, maybe like, do you give me some tip that what kind of stock should
नहीं
I
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
buy?
I won't go there.
I'm saying,
Just
I'm
want to
just
understand.
saying, right? And there are certain things that we certainly cannot talk about, right? So there are certain policies and certain things where we refrain from making any statement. But certainly, what we talked about, there are certain transaction fees. Then all those different platforms are there, so there are different data and information fee as well happens. But everything is there in public domain. Even if you search it on Chat GPT, it will give you a kind of proper result. Yeah,
Why should
but
only
certainly,
government
like,
have control
if
on
I
this?
say certain things and it can be quoted somewhere, I will be in
नहीं
trouble.
नहीं, don't worry, don't
Yeah,
worry. Why should only
yeah,
government has? Why should only government have control on this? Why can't
yeah.
another organization have control on this, like PTM or something?
So let's be in the periphery of our scope of discussion, right? And certainly, all these things will be answered by ChatGPT better than me for sure. Yeah, yeah, and I would say that better we can have a kind of discussion one to one, not in front of like 50 people, where the kind of like the purpose of the entire session was something else, right? It was about like understanding development sector. It was about understanding like how monitoring and evaluation framework works, how public policy gets designed, how social stock exchange come in place, and it can have a power and potential to solve different developmental issues,
But
right?
but
So
but you will appreciate curiosity is curiosity, right?
it is curiosity, but everything is time bound, right?
Mm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we are already
let's close it. Let's close it. It's
yes,
already
yes.
16
But
minutes over. Let us
Priyanshu,
close it.
I really appreciate your curiosity, and let's have a call around it, and we can talk about it, including what we said, that social stock exchange thing, how the
See, I don't
NGO
want the
company.
specifics, but I definitely want to have a hang of how the
No, but
system
सर
works.
देखिए क्या है ना, कि आपको एक्सपर्ट बनना है तो स्पेसिफिक्स में ही जाना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो फिर तो जनरेटिव एआई आपको रिप्लेस कर देगा, है ना
Mm.
सर? तो या because why I'm telling you, because one thing I really wanted to suggest here to everybody, and that is where this there is a gap between academia and corporate, is like how we when we like, and this is for next sessions, I'm sure, and as a kind of alumni, I would suggest it as a kind of my, I mean, being as a student only, that I really loved all those questions, but these questions were somehow not framed so properly. That is number one, because somebody who had researched all these questions, they actually forgot to delete that line between two sections, and that is how you can easily see that something is generated through AI, right? That is number one. Second thing is like when we share questions with the speaker, that time we ensure that the speaker comes prepared, and this is the respect of time that 50 people are giving in this call, right? That is second thing. So we ensure that the quality and the quality delivery of that thing happens, so that the speaker also gets some time that for preparation, right? Third thing I would say, this is also a bit of, I don't care about it, but this is the kind of like taking a kind of consent, that can we ask these questions to you? Do you think there is any sensitivity involved in these questions? Some questions, I'm not expert of everything, so some questions I might say that either like I don't know about this question. Second thing might be it may take a lot of time to explain, so probably we can skip it for the second one, because I'm not saying that I cannot come in the second session, right? So you take my 5 hours, 1 an hour each, because our attention span is really small that way. But that is how like we move from a kind of uh, academia to a kind of experienced thing. Obviously I'm in the process of learning only, but this is what I have learned, and as a
See,
student only, I'm conveying this message to all the
see,
students here.
what you are saying is it happens in Doordarshan interview. We are Kapil Sharma channel. We by
सर
design
मैं
want
आपको
we
एक बात
we
बताता
want
हूँ, एक
we
बात
want by
बताता हूँ,
design.
and
वो
सर
सुनिए
सर
सुनिए
don't
कौशल
be,
सुनिए मेरी
हाँ
बात
हाँ,
सुनिए.
yeah.
We want by design the natural instinct of the speaker. That is the design of the program. That is why it is not done so.
No sir,
क्योंकि
but I think we need
होता
to
क्या है,
think about it.
तैयारी तैयारी करके जो आते हैं वो फिर पूरा मैनेज
नहीं
शो
sir,
होता है.
नहीं sir, I will differ here, I will differ here, because see, it's not about like differ here, and
चलो वी
it's a
एग्री
kind
टू
of
डिसएग्री.
humble submission I'm saying, because there are different ways, and I would say that we should not defend something just for the sake of defending.
नहीं
And yeah,
we can
and
agree to disagree, that's
see,
fine.
nahi, yeah, you can do that, and I'm not pointing it out at all. I'm telling you, sir. I'm just finding myself as a student only, and that is why if I would do it again, I will do it differently, right? So I'm not pointing at all. There is always a kind of learning opportunity from everything, and we all are a learner here, right? But I'm saying that I mean we can do it better, and we can make sure that whenever next thing happens, probably there are certain things we can say that one very important thing I tell you. I mean, as again curiosity you are saying. So I'm a part of screenplay writing of Bamani Rani, right? So in that class, if it is happening virtually, you have to take special permission for turning off your cameras, because
So,
that also adds to a lot of things, the
so
interaction, the quality, and all those things. So we can learn from different best practices, I believe, right?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता यार. Feel free आप
सर
बस
अगर देखिए मैं
चकरे में
आपको
हो चारों
बहुत,
तरफ से.
सर मैं वो नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, मैं बस ये बोल
चिल
रहा
मारो,
हूँ
चिल मारो. Take
कि
it light.
नहीं नहीं सर, देखिए इसको दिल पे मैं कुछ नहीं ले रहा हूँ, बट द पॉइंट
नहीं,
इज आई एम
चिल मारो
चिलिंग
मैं
ऑन
कह रहा
यू.
हूँ. चिल, चिल,
ठीक है.
चिल, just chill.
And you must have seen in last 1 hour 21 minutes, right?
Yeah,
You
you are
have
very
not
natural, sir.
seen
You are very natural, sir.
my energy down, whatever I am speaking from my heart, and you have not seen me even like drinking a sip of water, because that is how we talk, right? If you care about something, you forget everything else, right? So, and when you talk about serious thing, there is no fun element because your work is fun, and I don't care about emotions. I personally care about results. When I'm one to
Oh my
one, I
God.
will be the funniest person, but when it comes to results, I'll be the biggest asshole in the room. I'm
So
telling
you
you.
have, you have two personalities.
I'm sorry, sir, for this using
No, you
this
have two
word.
personalities then.
I just care about something, my purpose, right?
Hmm.
When I chill. When I work. I'm serious about which whatever I do, and hence this is one personality only, sir.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah. Yes, but anyway, sir, I mean, I would suggest that next week, Monday or Tuesday, whichever day, 3 o'clock, we can have a call about it, right? Leaving all the things apart, and let's have call it a kind of
Yes,
curiosity call.
I think
And
me, Dr. Singh, would like to have a three-way call with you. I will
Yeah,
yes,
take help of
yeah, we
Ishita.
will,
yes,
we will, we will fix up. Let us close this. We will fix
Yeah,
up on
yes.
Monday,
yeah, yeah.
Tuesday.
And
We'll take it forward.
yes, and sir, one more thing, please circulate my email ID and my number if required to people who want to ask more questions. I'm always there to, and if they need any sort of like personal mentoring, that how to get into social development sector, if they need any sort of reference, looking for their placement or job or any kind of skill sets they requires, I'll be there to help them out, and you can select them or they can come to me anytime.
No, we'll
Yeah,
talk
we,
about
That's
we
it.
my
have a
that's
we
my
have a
offer.
process
Yeah,
for that.
we
We
have a
will we
process.
will make that happen,
Yeah.
and
So
that is the
wherever,
purpose of these
yes, yes.
sessions.
So,
That is
sir,
the
this
main
is my
purpose of the
this is the kind of care I do for whoever I'm associated with. So this is how and who I am, sir. Sir will tell you more about me probably. So thank you so much, sir. And I'm
It
still
was
like
it was very
sorry
nice
for
meeting you,
using one
Kaushal.
word which is not a part of my personality. So yeah,
लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है जहाँ से आप खड़े होते हो, हैं?
नहीं sir, वो तो लाइन भी कोई नहीं है sir. No, there's no line, sir.
एमडी तो ऐसी है, पेटे में पैसे आज भी नहीं उठाता. I like it
उसको
actually.
उसको सर्किल बोलते हैं ना सर.
हाँ,
ठीक है
I
सर,
like
चलिए,
it.
थैंक यू सो मच
चलो
सर,
Thank you
एंड
so
क्लोज
थैंक
much.
यू
करते हैं
एवरीबॉडी.
इसको. Let us close.
या या थैंक्स
It
सर,
was
बाय
nice to
सर.
have you, Kaushal.
या थैंक्स
Very
थैंक्स
nice
सर,
to have you. I think they will have a formal vote of thanks.
श्योर. ओहो.
Good evening, everyone, again. Now, on behalf of Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Kaushal Kishor Kumar Sir, for his insightful and inspiring session. Your journey and experience have truly enlightened us and added immense value to our understanding of leadership and development. I also wish to thank our moderator, Ms. Yukta ma'am, for skillfully guiding the session and ensuring it was engaging and impactful. A special thanks to our Honorable Senior Professor Ajay Kumar Singh Sir, respected Director Professor Dr. Mahesh Sharma Sir, and Registrar Dr. R.S. Singh Sir for their constant encouragement and support. We are grateful to all our respected faculty members for being a part of this occasion and for their continued mentorship. Thanks to all the students for their active participation and enthusiasm. Thanks again. We have a very great session today. Looking forward to see you all again.
And thank you so
Very
much.
lively, very
Yes,
lively session. Yeah.
I
Okay.
would just request one more thing, if you can share everybody's name who participated and their email ID. I would
Sure,
like to
sure,
register
sure.
them. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Kaushal.
Thanks.
भूल चूक लेने देनी
Thanks,
माफ
sir.
है.
Thanks. Bye bye.